guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Dark Magic palette by Jaclyn Hill and Morphe that you see right here. If you didn't see yesterday's video, I reviewed the Armed and Gorgeous palette of that collection. I'm not going to go into much detail about this palette before we jump into the tutorial, just because I kind of explained like the pricing and where to get these palettes in yesterday's video. So just, watch yesterday's video. Shameless plug. Gotta, plug my own videos. This is what the inside of the Dark Magic palette looks like. It's a very dark, grungy, night out kind of palette. This would be perfect for like New Year's and just like going to parties if you're that kind of girl or boy. I'm not. I stay at home all the time. But like, if I went out, this would be like, the kind of colors I might go for. Just something really dark and edgy and vampy, if you will. I'm going to insert some swatches of this palette just because I know some people like swatches right about now. Here are the swatches of the Dark Magic palette by Morphe and Jaclyn Hill. So if you want to see me use the Dark Magic palette by Jaclyn Hill and Morphe, and you want to hear my overall thoughts on this palette, then go ahead and keep on watching. The first thing I'm going to do is pick up my Morphe M573 and go in with the shade Shush. Shush is like a cool toned matte transition shade, and I'm just going to run that through my crease.
To the left, to the left. To the left, to the left. Everything you own in the box.
I'm now going to take the shade Mojo, which is like a cool tone dark purpley kind of color. I'm going to pick it up on my Morphe M506. And this is going to go in my outer corner.
Baby, when I saw you walking out the door, I just knew you needed something more. Now whip it straight back to the crib. Finna give you something that you won't forget. No.
Next, I'm picking the shade Power Cut in the palette, which is just a metallic silvery color, which is super cute and unique. I don't have like a ton of true silvers in my collection. I'm gonna spritz it just because I think all metallics perform better when wet. And this is going on the inner half of my eyelid. I'm gonna take this e.l.f. 202 brush, it's like a little short pencil brush, and pick up the shade Mojo once again and rebuild some pigment in the outer corner. I'm going to pick up that original blending brush, the M573 from Morphe, and pick up that Shush shade once again and run over everything in my crease, just for an even blend. Okay, I'm going to take this shimmery cool tone brown shade right here called Diversion on my Sonia Kashuk number 110 brush. This is the same brush I used for that Power Cut shade as well. I don't think I said that before. And I'm just going to sandwich that in between the silver shade and the dark matte brown, just to give it some better transition and so I can use more shades in the palette, because right now I've only used like 3 and I'm pretty much done with my eye look. I'm going to do the rest of my makeup off camera and come right back for my lower lash line. Okay, now I am back with the rest of my makeup on. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the lower lash line real quick. I'm going to take the shade Potion, which is like a matte mossy green shade. I'm going to pick this up on my Morphe E18 and run it along my lower lash line. Next, I'm going to take the shade Inside Job on my Morphe E36 brush and press it against the lower lash line. Ooh, it's fun. Oh, sorry guys, this eye is watering so bad today, so it's so hard to apply any shadow to it without just ruining my entire look. Oh my goodness. If you wanted to recreate this look at home and make it more wearable and not use the green and blues on your lower lash line, just go in with the shade Shush and Mojo in the same way I use the shades Potion and Inside Job, and you'll have a more wearable look. I just wanted to play with more shadows since I am doing a review, plus it was kind of looking boring to me, in all honesty. I wasn't feeling the look for the first like 5 minutes of it because it was just looking really bleh, basic, boring. So I figured adding the green and blue would help, and it really did. It looks a lot prettier. You can't really tell on camera how much the like green and blue stand out, because in person you can tell I have like a turquoise blue moment happening in my lower lash line, but on camera you can kind of see it, I guess, when I get close. I'm going to take this short pencil brush from an old Urban Decay Naked palette. Any little stiff pencil brush will do. And pick up the shade Poof, which is just a matte brow bone shade. And I'm going to highlight my brow bone with that shadow. I'm also placing that in my inner corner just to add a little more dimension to my look. I use some mascara for my lower lash line, and this look is then going to be complete. Alright guys, so that is my final look using the Dark Magic palette by Morphe and Jaclyn Hill that you see right here. I was struggling a bit with this palette at first, to be completely honest. The cool tone mattes that I was working with in my crease and outer corner weren't doing it for me the way I would expect any other eyeshadow to perform. However, just from personal experience, I always kind of struggle with cool tone shadows. I don't know if that's just because they're harder to work with or just because I don't personally really like them on my eyes. I don't know. It was a bit harder to blend out and pack on as compared to yesterday's tutorial with the Arden & Gorgeous palette. With that palette, I was able to create a really beautiful look and not spend too much time blending and packing and all that jazz. So, I mean, with that in mind, I don't hate this eye look. I don't hate the palette. I think it was nice. I think for $15, you're getting what you paid for, which kind of sounds bad. It's like, I feel like with the palette yesterday, I was getting more than what I paid for it. I was getting a really amazing palette for really cheap. But with this one, it's like, you're getting a $15 palette. It like feels like $15 eyeshadow quality, which I mean, that's what you paid for, but I want more, you know? That's what I expect when it comes to Jaclyn and Morphe in general. I just expect more than I'm paying for because they are so cheap, and like, I just have had really good experience with their shadows in the past. But this particular eyeshadow palette, it was okay, you know? It wasn't like the greatest palette ever, but it wasn't the worst palette ever. I don't hate it. I do want to give it another chance and play with it some other time just because I think it has potential. I just think it needs some good love. In all honesty, you just need some good love and good blending brushes, and you can make it work. So just with that being said, I don't think this is a very beginner friendly palette. I think if you're like intermediate, would that be after beginner? Intermediate, right? If you're like, you play with makeup some and you think you're fairly decent at makeup, I think you can make this palette work. I really do. I think it has potential. It just needs effort, you know? It's like a bad relationship. They just need some effort and some tough love, and they can make it work, you know? Sometimes. Anyways, yeah, that's just my overall thoughts on this palette. I don't have too much to say about it just because I wasn't blown away by it, but I wasn't like hating it. It's so hard to do a review on something you don't love, but you also don't hate. It's like conflicting, because like, what do you even say if you don't love it or you don't hate it? Like, it's okay. Great review, Allie, thanks. But, you know, I don't know. It's fine. Oh my god, I don't like being like this. I don't know what to say though. If you purchase the Vault collection as a whole and you got this palette, you wouldn't regret purchasing all 4 palettes together. But if you specifically bought just this palette, or you want to buy just this one, just take into the fact and consideration that you're going to need to work with it a bit. If you don't have the time, patience, or motivation to work with eyeshadow, don't pick this up. You're not going to like it. But if you do, and you're like, you know, these are my tones, I would use the absolute shit out of this palette. But you know what? Pick it up. For 15 bucks, it's not that expensive. It's not a great loss to your bank account if you lose $15 paying for this eyeshadow. And that's just kind of how I feel about this. I wish I had more to say. I wish I had better things to say. But here we are. So yeah, that is my final thoughts on the Jaclyn Hill x Morphe eyeshadow palette. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe down below, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.